Hi everyone and welcome back. So now it's the next video. In the last video we talked a little bit about Express generator, how to bootstrap a simple application. You can add some utility libraries or packages to make it production ready, and you can build your APIs. That will also become a microservice. Let's say you can build some kind of a small rating system or a CRUD operations exposing the REST interface. But what is the right way? I mean, we saw where we can add 12 factor principles. I'm talking about Express TypeScript here. I mean, now these are not the days where you can just write a simple Express app. We need to have TypeScript there. It's a must have. I mean, you cannot just say, okay, we don't need to use TypeScript. We just go ahead with a simple JavaScript. No, you obviously need to have a TypeScript. Either you are doing a front end or a back end. So what is going to change? You need to define the types for whatever you do. I mean, you'll be writing a middlewares, routers, controllers, services, validators. Everywhere you need to specify the types. And most of the libraries also supports the TypeScript definitions like debug, jest, class validator, body parser, cookie parser. All these different libraries you will be adding. So there are two ways. Either you create from ground zero, or use some baseline template, because most of the developers use the baseline templates to start before they start with their project. So I will suggest you can use your baseline template. So what is a baseline template? If you have it already, otherwise you can just use these generators. Generator node express TypeScript APIs, it even providing lots of things on top of what it is doing. I will try to use this thing, and then I will get rid of the dependencies, and I will try to see what we can use. So here is my application. I will install both these modules, and then it's like a yo generators. I mean, it was popular tool when we were generating these scaffolding in the front end during Angular 1.x. So let's use it, and then we'll just check the folder structures. If we like it, we will keep it, and we'll remove the dependencies which we don't need. We will add our own dependencies, our own structures, and we can upgrade the dependencies we need. Okay, so now it is adding the dependencies, and after that we will just use this command to create this application. And what it contains: package JSON, node-mon. In source we have a components, auth, user, config, route, swagger. I mean, you can also build these kind of generators and publish it to npm so others can use it. I think this has more downloads. You can also use this one. It's all saying whatever you use. So would you like to root name to be called let's say Express TS app? This is what I wanted to call this project. Okay, I want to use JWT auth. Secret key can be anything, and I will just open this code. So we have these. I'm talking about this particular project. It's better if I open the right project by going inside this. Okay, this is the project I'm talking. So what has been added from Express generator to the TypeScript? Now we have this TS config, which is a compiler configuration. So, and we are writing .ts file everywhere. You can see .ts, index.ts and all. So I will just try to close all those things. So now we are writing from .js to we are writing .ts, and either you can run the whole application by running the .ts file, or you can just use the ts config as a compiler, tsc compiler, and get .js file, and then for production you can just do node index.js. On dev you can still use ts node index.ts. That is your development. You can use a node-mon simple command and specify the node-mon.json file, which contains the execution, which contains how to compile the TypeScript and run it on the fly. So I think we also have a nodemon.json here, and it is using ts node. You can see ts node will keep running the server, and it will watching the source directory, and it will be running this index.ts as a main file. Okay, now if you see the structure, this is okay, it's not that much. I don't want to use this ESLint JSON which it contains. I will try to change it to convert it to my own JSON file. So this is a simple boilerplate, right? Because we created this through some external project. I mean, we can run this npm install, but it has lots of dependencies which I don't want. Okay, TypeScript I can upgrade, Swagger is fine, Mocha I don't need, ESLint Chai I don't need, and super test I will use a different ways of doing it. Element Express, EJS, .env, all the other dependencies we need. Bcrypt, cookie parser, body parser, .env, EJS we are not using but still keep it. Mongoose we are using MongoDB database. ESLint is 8.6, so we may need to upgrade the ESLint a little bit. So these are all ESLint plugins, and we are using ESLint.json. JSDoc to generate a documentation, nodemon, source map loader. Main dependencies we have Mongoose, TS node. TS node should not be a dependency, it should be a dev dependencies. So I will remove it and put it here. And bcrypt, body parser, compression, course express, helmet, joey, mongoose, util, json web token. Yeah, these dependencies we need, so there is no issues with that. Test I will just use a jest for it. So I will install all the required dependencies, and here skip lib check. We can have a tsconfig file for that. So let's try to add the required stuff for this, right? So what all things we need? I need a jest config, so I will just try to import that jest config. Here I'm targeting the .json.ts file. ESLint rc. Either you can have a .js, .json or .eslint rc. I will have my own ESLint rc which I'm using standard on all my project. I will try to add the basic files which are related to prettier or ESLint. Okay, I can just add that. So that's nothing but a ESLint rc file which requires ESLint recommended, because now we are writing a TypeScript code. So I can add all the dependencies of ESLint with the prettier. We have prettier rc and prettier ignore, ESLint rc, ESLint ignore. So what I will do is I will add the dependencies which we need for the ESLint and the prettier. So I will try to combine all of these together inside package.json. Go to the dev dependencies. These are the ESLint, right? I will replace my own ESLint configurations. This is the parser, ESLint 8.28 I'm using, because if you mix with the versions here, your ESLint won't work. I don't need this generator anymore. Now what are the other dependencies? We need a ESLint commitlint configuration. So I will try to add the commitlint. I'm not explaining these again because we have already discussed all these things in the code baseline. So the first video we did where we talked about the code baseline, there we have covered to add the husky, to add all the required dev dependencies for our project. I'm adding commitlint, and there is a commitlint config also I need to add. We can have even ts config also. We can have multiple ts configs, one ts config for the build, one for the test and all. So this is ts config. We will see what change we need to do in the ts config, because these are the compiler options which you are passing for your project, and your project can be nextjs, Koa, Happy, Express, TypeScript and all. And then I need a husky, so I can just copy the husky. Husky has these hooks, pre-commit hooks, npm run lint, npm run prettier. So we need these hooks in our project added npm run lint and npm run prettier. So I will just try to add those package JSON scripts from my previous baseline. Right, and now I will do npm install to get everything ready. So we added Husky also. So we need to add a Husky as a dependency. Husky and Jest I will try to add as a dependency, as a dev dependency. Okay. Then we have a TS Jest and TypeScript. TypeScript 4.9 I will upgrade this version. So we are using 4.5, TS Jest 17.0, and Jest we are using 17.4. So we are good, kind of. And here we got ESLint already 8.28. And now I'm good. I can just remove the package lock file, which is not there already. I can just hit npm install. And wait for the execution to be over. I can start running npm run lint, and it is complaining bin prettier does not exist. So let's see, do we have prettier already added? Okay, I think the prettier dependency is not there, so let's add it 2.8.6 as a dev dependency, or you can just install npm install -a -dev. And we can specify the version you wanted to install, 2.8.6. So we are adding a dev dependency, and then we are doing lint, and it works, right? So we can just do npm run prepare to configure the Husky for the project. It's already first of all GitHub Git repository should be initialized. What we can do is git init, okay, repository initialized, and we can just write a simple prepare script to install the Husky. Go to the top in the scripts. Okay, it's already there. I can just do npm run prepare, and Husky hooks are installed. Git status. Why there is uppercase already, caps lock getting pressed again and again. Let's say I'm adding a readme file and I'm doing git commit -m, and let me check. Okay, code pre-commit hook executed with 1, forget to run prettier. So I will just run the prettier first, npm run prettier write. So it will fix the files for me. I will add all the files, git commit -m. Okay, now it is checking the formatting, and it is also enabling these commit conventions. All these modules are coming into picture, because if you can see here in the hook, what we are doing is npm run lint and npm run prettier, and for preparing the commit message we are using this commit convention. And here I can say is init baseline, and here you can see my log, git log. Okay, and then you can push it. Now let's try to do npm runs build. Do we have these commands somewhere in the package JSON? We have these scripts, npm run build, npm run you can watch it, you can watch the files also. I think we have a nodemon JSON somewhere. Okay, so if I want to do a dev, I can have a simple, I can specify nodemon command. So nodemon should look into this file and it knows what to execute, npm run dev. So it is using nodemon, and there is an issue. Okay, we need to fix this. Looks like some TypeScript error. Let me start it normally. If it works, npm run start. npm run. Okay, there is no start command right now. So when you do the ts command, it will give build, and it will give you those .js files. So how can you check if it really working, the project? Then you can go to the build. Inside build you have a config server, and then there is a server.js file. So this is how you are starting your server. And I don't think it is doing anything. Starting the Express app, listening to the port. Okay, we need to do an index.js instead of this, because this is the main file and pipe is already in use. Okay, I can just kill this process on 3000, kill -9. Okay, now it should try to run the project. Now I can just try if it works. Is it giving me something? Not found. So there should be some routes it has created. We can test those, like in the index route v1 users. I'm just playing. So it is just saying some errors, is authenticated at least. So now it is hitting the APIs, right? Now we are getting some response and APIs are getting triggered. Okay, now because there is no database connection, that's why it has broken. It has terminated the whole process. So what we need to do is, to get these set up properly, we need to have a database configuration. This is our env. It is looking for MongoDB URI. This database, MongoDB main, what it is doing with this. MongoDB URI, I think that is a database name. Database name it will create automatically. We can just provide a Docker Compose and Docker Compose YML. So it will spin up the MongoDB container for us. So we can, either you already have a MongoDB somewhere running on your host operating system, or you can just use Docker Compose YML to spin up the container. Now what I did is, I have a simple Docker Compose YML file. That is nothing but, okay, it will help you to spin up the MongoDB container. It will expose this port. So when you do Docker Compose up, it will give you the container up and running, and then you can connect to this. So I'm doing this again, and I'm connected to the MongoDB. That's good thing. Okay, now MongoDB we are connected. We should be able to access the API. So what are the APIs are in this, which I really don't know. So let's try to explore them. So there is a doc, there is a auth, API v1 users, API v1 auth. So this is the auth router, which contains sign up and login. Let's try to access this document route. There is a docs route. Or is there any root path is added? Code secret, okay, routes.init app. I'm just trying to see the code middleware we are configuring routes.init. So these are the two app.use auth router. So it is a post API, and this is also the post API. And in the login, it is doing a couple of things. So let's try to, because this is the boilerplate code, we need to just play with this. So here you can see my application is running on this, and there is the auth login. So let's try to see what is the other route, auth register, let's say. So we'll go to the route server, and here is index inside auth. Oh, this is a little confusing. Create user we need to trigger. server and routes. These are the user routes. So for registration, we need to hit router.get id, delete id, auth routes. So it's a login, and then one is a sign up. In sign up, what you are asking is, let's try to see, that will be inside a validation. What are the required parameter? So here you can see password, email, create user, email, and the password. So here my endpoint is sign up. And I will do email. Okay, so I just entered the engine.com. Okay, it has given me this token, so sign in is successful. I mean, this is how the APIs are designed. I would, but in my case, what I would have done is just create a user, and then you can just do the login. This is sign up, and this is login. I think that is the endpoint name. Sign in successful. So this is how the basic implementation is, right? And then I think we need to pass this token. I can just copy this token, because if you read the code, we have two routes, auth router and user router. And user router is using one middleware, which I need to see JWT auth, which is expecting you to pass X access token. Okay, let's pass X access token, and then you can access the user routes. In the user routes, we see find all. Okay, let's do this. I will just create a duplicate of this. I will rename it. So inside user API, we need to pass this X API token, which is there in this code. Okay, there is a middleware which is deciding all those things. And okay, now my APIs is like user API. So I will be passing X access token, and this is the value of X access token, which I have copied from here. Let's copy this, put this here. It's not a bearer token. You are not prefixing it with the bearer. This is what the code is written in the boilerplate. Okay, I didn't wrote this code, and I can even they are returning me the password. That's totally dumb, right? So you can create a multiple users. You can create a post. You can delete a user. So this is auth API. I can create a post login sign up. You can create a multiple users, and I'm already using this, so I got this. So it's like a simple implementation. I won't go into the code because I think there are lots of issues with this code. It's just a boilerplate. But if you look into this folder structure and all, that's what we need to learn from, right? We have environment variable .env is coming from here. All these environment variables are populated in the process.env, like the port, node environment, MongoDB URI, the secret or zero secret, which we are using in the middleware to validate the token, which is being passed in the headers. And these are your components. I mean, that's on you how you define your folder structure. You can create a controller, services, routes, utilities, configuration. So here you can create a lib, right? Utilities. And we already have a database, but I would suggest we should have created something like this database. And models, then you can create a routes is already there. You could have done controllers, services. This is like a typical MVC design where you are keeping the consistent folder structure and knows what is happening. Okay, and I mean this application is right now working. We added commit lint configurations, husky, hook, ESLint RC, prettier. So prettier is now perfectly working fine. But I think when I'm running this npm run dev, I think still there is a issue. I need to check. Okay, resolve reference directory live to wrapping. I can stop this because currently I'm running it the output build folder. That should not happen for the development, right? We should be able to run the TypeScript code on the fly so that we can do the change and it automatically reload npm run dev. Let's try to fix this, what it is saying. Okay, so this Stack Overflow, my friend told me upgrade TS node, fix the issue, TS node 10.8.0. This is 10.8.0 and I'm doing npm run dev. It is starting my server. Connection MongoDB connected, connection open, and now, I mean, I'm not doing proper logging. So obviously you can have logger here. We can use a Winston logger, Morgan logger and all. So when we talk about the 12 factor principles, it's all about how you can orchestrate or how you can build a tiny microservice having all different concepts in added to it, like following a proper MVC, adding a logger, managing all the environments and populating the environment, segregating or isolating the environment variables, managing the database connections. So it's you can call that as a production ready, and you can deploy that on EC2, Lambda, or anywhere you want. That is our final goal from this first module of building services in Express, TypeScript, and using nextjs. So currently this works fine. Even in the dev it works using node, or we can also run it using node. First of all, npm run build, that is using tsc command and looking into tsconfig and giving us the output build folder, and we can run the node app like this also. And how would you know what port and all? That is all defined here. You can create env.example also. To let everyone know that these are your environment variables which you need to use. Okay, Docker Compose, this is the additional file we have. Node package.json, all the required package scripts. I think we don't have a jest config. We have, so you can just do npm run test. Currently we don't have any test cases added. So what we can do is we can create a test directory. And inside this you can just create a unit test, integration tests and all. abstract.ts. Similarly, you can collect the coverage using this command tsc coverage. Okay, tsc is like very extensive library. Sorry, jest, because here we are using jest to get the run the test, and just jest because we are writing TypeScript code. And then you can add the scripts to test the code. Here you can also add a deployment script and all. So this is the build, dev, start. Now this is really simple, right? But how you deploy these applications to the production environment? There is always a good approach, and popular libraries are there. You can install the PM2, and you can create a multiple instance of a single service if your EC2 instance is a multi-core, right? You have 4 GB and 2 core, then you can easily have a 2 instance of this service so that it can scale peacefully, right? So you can use PM2, which is a process manager for the Node.js. First of all, you can install that globally, and same thing you have to do wherever you are running this application, npm install -c pm2. Okay, once it is globally installed, you can use PM2 Docker, PM2 runtime environment, PM2 dev, npm run build. I will do because we will be running the build environment, and then I can do PM2 dev start. Okay, there is a long file we need to traverse. Build config server index.js, right? So what PM2 is doing? PM2 is just starting your server, and here you can specify the number of instance and all those things. You can specify the name. Even pm2 monit is the command, pm2 list. There are many commands. Now pm2 is installed globally. You can run all these things. pm2 list. I mean, there should be one process running already. What happened to this? pm2 start. Okay, it should be pm2 dev. Is it something like this? pm2 list should give me the list of instances. It's running already, right? Process started, and even I can hit the APIs. Okay, it's not running. So let me check. Ignore folder app started index. So pm2 is starting my application. Okay, maybe I was executing a different command, pm2 dev, and here you can get the pm2 logs also, pm2 list also. I mean, pm2 dev, I maybe misspelled it. It's pm2. pm2 start, even you can do -i. I need to run 2 instances of this whole application. So how you can do is build. Inside build you have routes. Okay, build config. Config server, and there is index.js. So script already launched. pm2 list. I mean, there is a command pm2 stop 0, so it will stop this, or pm2, I don't know, like all these commands. pm2 kill should do this. pm2 monit, pm2 restart, pm2 remove. I mean, I just wanted to delete this process, right? So pm2 restart. Even you can do pm2 monit if you want to restart this. pm2 restart 0, and now you can just pm2 list, pm2 logs. pm2 is just like a process manager, which is actually managing the processes. I mean, you can I wanted to kill this pm2 process. Let me see the command. That is pm2 delete. Now pm2 start -i. I can create a 4 instance of this application, which I'm calling pm2 start -i, build config. I don't like this directory structure, but now it has created, you can see the 4 instances, and you can see. So this is how you can manage your process instance. Let's say you have 4 core, you can create a 4 instance, and you can track them. Like now you can do pm2 monit also. That is used to monitor all the process instance, how the memory heap, memory, and how they are progressing. Okay, so that's all about simple TypeScript application. We will add lots of other things. Till now, I think the Docker may be something new for you. Docker file to spin up the MongoDB container and connect to that. .env, we have used jest and all these utility libraries for ESLint, for Husky, commitlint, commit convention, prettier RC, and jest config, nodemon. All these are the core dependencies we have used, but this is the application. Now you can extend these API platform to your own way. I didn't explain the code. There is no need. It's just a routes, and then it is just a MongoDB models to insert, update, delete operations it is performing. And then there is a simple middleware it has added. Like if you have seen, there was some middleware, right? If I can see GWT auth, it's a simple middleware. It is checking that if you are accessing the protected routes, then are you authorized? So this is authenticated middleware has been added in somewhere in the code, like here. So this particular route, this particular path can be accessed only by those users who are carrying the valid authentication token, XAPI token or something. And this is auth router, which is public route, which you can use for login and register. That will give you the access token. Okay, I wanted to try one more small thing. So okay, we already have an instance already running, right? And all are running on port. So is it running on 3000 port? I mean, this is what I wanted to show, because we were using some libraries for Swagger also. So you can see this is the endpoint, which was coming with a boilerplate. And this is how it was generating the APIs. Swagger definitions we were defining before the controllers, and it is generating a Swagger doc, and we already using Swagger UI npm modules. So when you are hitting a docs, it is giving you this nice and clean APIs. And here I can play with this thing. I can do the sign up, and I got this access token. So this is how you will be playing with Swagger docs. And I can authorize this, I can add this, close, and I can start accessing the protected APIs, which are these. I didn't get the response. No token provided. Okay, so that means here you can see the token is not being passed. So Swagger definition is not proper here. It is expecting the authorization token here. I mean, I don't know why it became empty. Authorize, and now if I try again, okay, it's going. Sorry, you can see XAPI token, X access token, and you can see the data is coming now. So this is how you can create the new user, all sort of stuff we can do. Duplicate entry, because I'm passing the same name and same email. All these things should be handled at the API level, if like how we are throwing the exceptions, how we are handling the errors. That's what a production ready API is, not just some random chunks we are throwing. And now here I can just pass some IDs, like this is the ID, object ID, and I wanted to get this user. I can get it. That's it. So this is like a Swagger doc which you can use, and it's always good to have a Swagger API specifications for your APIs, so that front-end developer can understand, okay, these are the endpoints he need to hit, this is the payload, this is the post, put, get, delete, patch API endpoints. So it's easy for communication and integration also. That's it guys. Thanks everyone. Thanks for watching.